Hello, I'm Cara Stanford, and this is the Marketing Spaces. Thank you for taking the time and space to join me today so that you can learn how to improve your marketing campaigns. We're going to run through a 5-point checklist. So there is a guide that accompanies this video. Please do go to the link there and grab it and download it. You'll find it really useful to be able to type up and write your ideas. Before we begin, let's do a little bit of looking back before you move forward. So I'd like to take some time to reflect on how well did your last marketing campaign do? Could you just take a bit of time to think about at which stage perhaps of the buyer's journey did your last campaign stumble? So I've got a diagram here for you of all the different stages of the buyer's journey. So it could be you've got really great awareness, loads of people kind of saw what you were doing, they saw your ads, they saw your they saw you were coming up in SEO, but they didn't make that leap to being interested. They didn't click. They didn't click through, or maybe they did click. And they clicked through to whatever you were sending them or whatever you were asking them to do once they became aware of you, but they didn't go any further. They didn't kind of subscribe, or they didn't book that discovery call or book that demo, or maybe they did. And they booked that demo, that discovery call, they downloaded the information you gave them, they went to your article, they went to your blog, and they stopped there. So wherever it was that you felt that your last marketing campaign stumbled, can you map that on the buyer's journey? And if you're unsure about that, then go and look at your data. So the first question is, why do you think that happened? You might have a good idea. You might say, I don't think my message was right. Well, actually, go and look at your data. Maybe your message was right and your message grabbed their attention. It was that they couldn't find where to go. The next step wasn't clear to them. Have a look at your data. So make this a bit of a combination of what you think plus what your data is telling you. And then the third part of this is, what did your audience tell you? Have you gone out and asked people? Have you said, hey, did you see our last campaign promoting this? What did you think of it? Did you click through? Why didn't you? Why didn't you? What would have stopped you from moving forward through it? So just have a little bit of reflection time. And the reason this is important is that having done all of that, it will help you sharpen up your thinking for your next campaign. And it also gets you in the right mood of thinking, well, actually, I've got to kind of make sure that this campaign moves people through. So look back before you move forward. Record this in the guide that you've downloaded. So let's improve your next campaign. I would advise that you have a campaign in mind as we work through the guide together. And what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to say for each section, give yourself a score. And so you can say, right, I've scored 3 out of 3, I've scored 1 out of 3. And that's really handy because then, of course, the idea is you improve on that score. Make notes on each of the 5 checkpoint actions. So in the guide, you'll see that there are questions to help you with each of the checkpoint areas saying, can you do this? Should you do this? And then fill in the checkpoints for a strong marketing plan, which is right at the end of the guide, so you pull everything together in one place. So let's look at the 5 things that you can do to improve your next marketing campaign. Point 1, set a strong goal. So a strong goal has clear timelines, a start and a finish, a quantifiable result attached to it, and a defined audience. The start and finish is really important. It might be that you say this is going to be a rolling campaign. Fine. I would still say put a bit of a date on it, actually, because otherwise you could just say, oh, 1 more week and it will be a success, 1 more month and it will be a success. And the quantifiable result is, well, actually, what do you need it to achieve? What does success look like? Bottom line, what does success look like? That's your result. Make it something that you can measure. And then who is your audience? Who is the defined audience? I've given you an example. Over Q2, we will double the number of inquiries for service X from segment A. Our audience is segment A. We want our quantifiable result to be that we will double the number of inquiries we get for a particular service. And we're going to do that over a period of 3 months. Nice, strong goal. That allows you to know if your campaign has been a success or not. Part 2, plan and map out how they will first find out about you, where you will send them next, and then where they will go from here. So basically, you're mapping out the journey. And it sounds so obvious, but so many campaigns I see, I'll say, great, so where are you sending them to next? They go, what do you mean where I'm sending them to next? We want them to go to our website. Well, where does it say go to my website? Well, we want them to book an appointment with us. Where does it say book an appointment with us? Well, it says it here. Oh my gosh, that's buried. I can't see that. Are you clearly signposting them to where you want them to go next? Not just for the first part of your campaign, but all the way through your campaign. So if we take our previous example, it was to increase the number of inquiries for service X. So at the awareness point, they become aware that you offer this service. Where do you send them to next? You send them somewhere for information. Is that obvious? Is that clear? They go there for information. You want them to book an inquiry. Is that too soon? Do they have to do other things? Do you need them to fill a form in? Do you need to map it out? Like literally map it out. I mean, I'm a bit of a pen and paper girl. I will draw it out first. Then I might go to a tool like Miro or Excel or PowerPoint, whatever works for you, to get it down properly, to say, right, this is where, these are all of the stages. This is everywhere that I'm taking them to. And then the question is, what happens if they drop out at a stage? So what happens if actually you can see that they've come on, they've filled in a form, and then they've never responded to you saying, hi, you wanted to, you were interested in service X and we were going to follow up with that. Why? Where are they dropping out? And what are you going to do if they drop out? So always assume, because it will happen, that people will drop out at each stage. What are you going to do? How are you going to mop those people back up? Or are you just going to let them go? Map it all out. Number 3 of your 5-point checklist, ensure your message is right for your audience. Now, I love the brand Dove for its messaging. I'm not keen on the product, if I'm honest, but I love the messaging of what they do. And one of the reasons I love their messaging is it was back in the early 2000s. They had a massive change in how they approached their marketing. They went and researched with real women, and real women came back with things like, we want to see pictures of women that look like us in our marketing. We want the language that we use in your marketing. We're tired of these impossibly attractive young women who are typically of a particular age, a particular ethnic group. We want to hear things that we want to hear. We're bored of these pseudoscience rubbish that gets thrown out at us. So they really work hard, and they still work hard today to ensure that their message is right for their audience. So we can learn from them. So make sure the way to do this is that you check or test your message with members of your audience to see how they react. This could be as simple as saying things to people. So when I first set up the marketing spaces and I started doing networking, you have to do your 60-second pitch. I'd go, the marketing spaces does a bored, no reaction. And it basically took me 4 or 5 goes before I hit on something that made people go, oh, that's interesting. I want to talk to you. And I still get it wrong now. That was one way for me to test my message. Another way is to do A/B split testing. So you might run an advert exactly the same in every way, except you change the message on the top. Keep the same look, the same images, everything, but have 2 different messages. And that's having at least 2 message options to try. And we do this at the marketing spaces. We'll put something out with one message, go, oh, didn't go down so well. Try the second message. Keep trying, and consciously use the language that your audience is using. I used to get really hung up on this. I'd go, but they should be saying they need strategic marketing. Nobody says that. Nobody says that. People say things like, I want to know my marketing is working. I want to plan my marketing properly. Use the language they're using. Checkpoint 4, have a strong creative that really resonates with this audience. I loved the creative that Just Eat used a few years ago involving Snoop Dogg. And they used the real Snoop Dogg, and then they used a puppet Snoop Dogg. But not only did they have a really fun creative that was really visually arresting and all tied together, they then had some great music to go with it too. I mean, not all of us can afford Snoop Dogg, but the point was that this was a kind of fun, funky, urban creative that really resonated with the Just Eat audience, because Just Eat has sprung around cities where it's easy to get all kinds of food delivered to you. So let's learn from that. So when you're looking at your strong creative for your audience, you've got to ensure your marketing material is designed and based on what you know this audience like, enjoy, and notice. You've got to have checked and tested it with members of your audience to see how they react. And you also, again, have to consciously create it using the language they use. The language is so important. If we get the wrong language, you can alienate people. So have a strong creative for your particular audience. And of course, if you've done your strategic marketing plan, and we do offer a course on this, where you've done some great segment profiles, where you've really thought about this segment, you will know this. You will know what your audience likes, enjoys, and notices. Checkpoint 5. Have checks in place to see how well it's going. Now, there's two different types of measurement that you have to have in place. You have to know how well your marketing campaign is being received at each stage of the buyer's journey. And you've also got to collect things on a regular basis. And if you aren't measuring, it's like having a blank piece of paper in front of you. What's the point? What's the point in running your campaign if you don't know how successful it is? And again, I am often so shocked by how that is literally a blank space when it comes to checks and measures. Think in your mind, buyer's journey, each stage, how do I know if this is going down well? How do I know if my audience has become aware of my marketing campaign? How do I know if they're interested in what we're saying? How do I know if they're considering using us or choosing us? How do I know if they've actually made that decision to engage us? And that could be a purchase, could be a donation, whatever your business is. Have that one key measurement for each stage of the buyer's journey, but also look at things on a regular basis. And the looking at things on a regular basis is so you're not driving blind. Because if you aren't regularly checking in on your campaign, you're effectively driving blind. You're like this blank yellow space there. You're just driving along with no idea what's going on. And when we drive, we are regularly checking. We should be checking our dashboard, looking outside the window, seeing what's going on. Are we going in the right way? Are we going at the right speed? What's happening over there? How are people responding to how we're driving, what we're doing? So split your measurements into two. Think of them as checks. There's the big check. Are we at our destination? Have we achieved our awareness goal? Have we achieved our interest goal? Split into each stage of the buyer's journey. And then there's that, are we going on the right direction? Is this going well? Should we be stopping? Is the car making a really funny noise? We need to stop right now. The last point is make this happen. You can make this happen. The fact that you are watching this video, the fact that you've downloaded the guide shows that you want to improve your marketing. And if you wish to, we would love you to do this as part of our Marketing Spaces community. We're a relaxed community. You can get involved as much or as little as you like. We offer a range of options for every type of marketer and business owner. So do check us out. Do consider coming along to some of the things we offer. So thank you so much for your time. Enjoy improving your marketing campaigns. My name's Cara Stanford. This is the Marketing Spaces.